Welcome back, UFC Fight Night Orlando. This is LaTB coming at you, fully in face. A little bit
of live.
A little bit.
Not live.
Not live, but this is going to be a good show. We're starting off our YouTube video branch, and hopefully you like what you're bringing. I know the money's been coming in. I know UFC Orlando was hot as shit. What a fun weekend we had. You had LaTB at the event, meeting Felony himself, meeting the Pawns, meeting Mike Brown. We didn't meet Mike Brown. We saw Mike Brown. We saw multiple other fighters. We were geeking out. What a wonderful Orlando card. How did you end up feeling that the night ended up going?
I had such a great night, and I woke up this morning singing, hey, hey, hey. I was so happy. Your lipstick stain.
Who came out to that?
Sam Alvey.
Sam Alvey. God, that was a good one.
That was
a good one. With our breakdown, we're going to end up just going over the results of UFC Orlando, and we're going to give you our perspective of how the night ended up going in the auditorium. I feel like that's a little bit more backstage. A lot of people don't talk about it, how it felt to the interactions of the fans, how the other fighters were. We ended up seeing Kamaru Usman come in through the special event access door. We had Aubin Mercier refuse to go out to Denny's with us. He thinks he's better than most fighters.
I think you're getting ahead.
This is too far.
Blowing the wad all at the beginning.
So we ended up showing up about a half hour early to the Amway Center. All I gotta say is props to the Amway Center real quick. The staff there was on point. Nicest staff I've ever dealt with at any one of these events.
Really, most incredible staff. I need to yelp about them. Any of those critiquing pages. Nicest staff of any event I ever went to. No one made you feel stupid for not knowing where you were going. Everyone was polite. I hope you enjoy the event. Are you guys enjoying yourselves? Just very hospitable people. So 5-star Amway Center, Orlando. Great card.
Totally agreed. The prices though on your food, take it back a second.
It's a little crazy.
It's a little much. Come on, guys.
I had a $5 glass of water.
I had a $6 nacho. That was the squirt of cheese with chips that were warm. Come on, guys. Like, you guys are already, you're getting us in there, but woo!
And other critique, not enough UFC merch.
100%.
It was all bullshit Reebok. No fighter gear. You could get a couple McGregor posters, but other than that, I would have bought a Holly Holm kit if I was
the kits
freezing,
were available there.
I was freezing, and there was no hoodies to be had except for just plain ones that were kind of Reebok, and they said UFC small, but they didn't say any fight. They didn't say Orlando. There was nothing distinctive about them, so I was a little bummed about that.
Totally agree. I went to spend more money, and then all of a sudden was like, I'm going to waste my wallet on beers at $11 a beer. And it was woo. So what an experience.
But the fighters deserved that. They put on a show, and it was actually a great card.
But the fighters get none of that.
They don't. Yeah, and there's no.
They get no food now.
Only the champ gets part of, I think, the
pay-per-views, and this was a fight. This was a fight night.
Yeah, you're right.
So
fighters don't get new.
None of this. With the fight night, it started off with Manny Bermudez.
Before the fight night, that's
right.
when you met Felony.
Oh. I did meet Felony. Chris Bennett himself called him Crazy Horse. We were on YouTube Live, which I feel like inspired this as well. You'll see the Bean out there on Felony's
Felony
YouTube.
outed us, essentially. So then we were like,
Yeah. All right. We're going to get it out there. So
get rid of the anonymity.
Felony, a really interesting story. If you look back at it, he lives up to his name. Joe Rogan has many stories, so do many people, of him just being one of the craziest people of all, and how now his past is catching up to him, and he's got a really interesting, rough life, and all he can do now is essentially fight, but people aren't giving him fights, and now that he can't travel across the world, he's really in a rough spot. I felt like he was making noise as well at the bleachers later on in the evening. Did you see him talking to multiple fighters as they were walking by?
Yeah, he was down in the fight area of.
He had those $1,000 tickets.
Yeah, he had the good seat.
Yeah, he was down on the ground level, along with multiple other not celebs, fight celebs, but there was quite a few.
Quite a few. So yeah, now we can start off the first.
We started off the first
fight of the night. Felony got to meet the Bean.
He did. what a nice guy. He was very respectable.
awesome.
He was very respectable, but very unique in his. You got that energy from him. I don't know. He just was a bit queer, dare I say,
Yeah.
in the best kind of way. I'm not saying that negatively by any means. So we started off the night of this 12 card bout with Manny Bermudez over Aubin Mercier, second round submission. This was a perfect pick by the Bean himself.
I had it as well. I think we both went Bermuda submission
Round two. Perfect. So you cash in early. This was a little bit hairy. Bermudez against better quality fighters is going to be somebody that I'm going to have to back off of a little bit. He got tested a bit, and it was sketchy for a split second. Morales, unfortunately, it's time to go. I think there's a four or second fight in a row. He's lost maybe third. I think he just came back with a win. Either way, what did we say? If it gets to the ground, there's a big disparity, and it showed. Bermudez was all over him off of his back. Morales he cracked Bermudez a few times, knocked him down in the first round. I'd say it went the first round to Morales. Bermudez, yeah. I'm sketchy on both fighters.
I'm sketchy on Bermudez going forward. I don't give him too much hype because really this was more a fade for me than Morales than it was anything with Manny's skill set. So I love that the pick went perfect for us, but it doesn't mean I'm a ride or die for Manny from this point forward, I think.
I totally agree. Totally agree. So, tentative on both of these gentlemen wherever they go.
I feel like it's weird having eyes on us during the podcast.
I have to remind myself that we're interacting with the YouTubes. So
should we be chatting with the camera or should we be chatting with each other like old school?
I think it goes back and forth until we are able to get more cameras in here and get some better angles of us. But
That's
in time, you have to be patient, grasshoppers. So, on to Alex Perez defeating Eric Shelton via third round decision. I just gotta say, we've said it before multiple times, and this year is more prevalent than ever, that people who miss weight are winning every single one of their fights. Alex Perez missed weight by about half a pound, came in an hour later and actually weighed more, which means he just quit, hydrated, and was willing to take the 20%. But again, he did not hurt himself, and it paid off in the long run. He was able to take Shelton down, which a lot of people haven't been able to keep him down as well, and able to hold a fairly good pace.
I actually had Alex Perez and saw this fight going just like this. I always have thought Shelton was a little overrated, and this is more so because I think of the overrate of Eric Shelton than this, same as the last fight, than really how stoked I am on Alex Perez. But I saw the fight kind of. I didn't see a finish going. I think I had a decision. Was it a decision?
It was a decision.
I had a decision. I had a third round submission. So I actually thought it would kind of go like that. Yeah.
Anything left with either of those guys? I think Shelton's barely holding on. He's going to have a couple more fights just because he's been in there with some good ones. Perez, he's going to do that to a lot of people, but I don't know if he scores a lot on DraftKings wise. Like straight up bets, he's going to be in some hairy fights as well. These guys are so young though that they could grow dramatically in their next fight and look like a completely different fighter.
Yeah. Oh, the next fight. You talked me into.
I did. And I also feel like
But I'm my own person. I didn't have to go your way. But
I
you
also
just had a good
backed
argument for Doan.
I backed off a bit and said, wait till we're in the arena. And Haniyaya keeps taking him down and Doan decides to not stay off of the ground. There was multiple times where Doan went for the guillotine instead of backing out completely and losing the fight via the takedown. He finally got submitted in the third round, but everything I said with Yaya's gas tank, bad grappling exchanges, Yaya's somebody I'm looking to fade, and I guess I need to be doing that for Russell Doan just as much.
Yeah, both. Yaya's interesting. I think there's money to be made when he gets the right matchup. I can't see if the UFC's giving him feeders right now, if they like him or if he has a good enough following. Like the Brazil fans were going off for Yaya. That's where they started.
The Brazilian contingency from the night's beginning was fucking crazy.
You could feel it in the whole auditorium.
They were the only ones.
You're gonna die. And I was like, can we start chanting "You're gonna die" in English? And we had our friend with us, and she was like, no.
We'll get kicked out of here.
No.
We'll get kicked out of here.
No.
There was other fan sections that were trying to actually
compete with the USA.
Right.
USA.
Every time. But what I love from the beginning of the night, you probably heard us a few times, was a good old Ric Flair. I got to hold these. It's tough getting to hold these gators down. Woo!
Yeah.
All night long. I
All
lost my voice.
All night long. The Ric Flair was hitting it all night. That was the hottest one.
That was.
Another new one that I thought was really funny because you could see off in the distance Michael Bisping and Dom doing the Fox Live.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone was, Bisping! Mike, I love you, man!
Not just us.
Not
It wasn't just
everyone.
us. It was awesome. I absolutely
That was
loved
really
it.
funny.
Everybody.
Was there any other weird yell outs that people were doing on the reg?
I think-
USA occasionally.
People were getting, well, no, when we get into those fights.
Yeah, when we
get to those fights, we'll
But
get those
I will
chants.
say, the low point of the whole night was this Aniaya fight.
Agreed. This was ad.
So it was nice
one
to
the
kind
most
of get it
boring
out of
fights.
the way right before, like, really the rest of the night was just laying out killers. It was nice. The finishes, decisions when they were grinds, and good decisions. Yeah, so great fight night.
On to Smiling Sam getting the biggest pop of the night, coming in and out of the UFC. He was fighting a debuting Marcin Pacino, TKO
And you
round
could
one.
feel after the last fight, everybody was like this after the
Yeah.
Yaya fight.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you could feel the spike once that little song started, the little train song. Your lipstick stink. You could feel it when Sam was walking
Yep.
in. And
People singing
his,
along.
His wife is coming in her crutches next to it. You could just feel the energy change into the ring. And Sam, you could tell he was tentative. You could tell he was nervous. It was different seeing
That's the
him
same
there.
Always fight though.
I don't know. He said it was different, and I think it would be different. Sam Alvey at 205 interests me. He took some shots.
So I watched the replay. I
I feel like I have to
Marcin.
apologize to Sam. I'm such a huge fan, and we didn't bash him on the show, but it was just easy for me to jump with the Polish guy.
Who looks like a
because
monster.
Just looks like a monster. Like we just
Yep.
jumped off Sam, and we're usually like Sam fans. So
I do feel like
apologize.
we hedged our bets a little bit in saying that
Sam wouldn't be finished.
Sam wouldn't be finished, and Sam looks for that counter punch, and the finishing shot ended up Sam hurt Marcin early in that first swing of things, and then the finishing blow. Marcin comes in with his hands literally at his chest, and Sam Alvey lands a disgusting left because there was no looking back. Watch the finish. Both of his hands are right at rib level, and he eats it. And then he got up. They didn't show it on video, but Marcin was like, "What? I wasn't out.
Yeah.
He was collapsed in on
Sam
himself.
walked away.
Yeah, he was like,
He
"Come on,
pointed
stop
at the
it."
camera.
Loved it.
It was awesome.
Not only did Sam have an amazing finish, had a crowd pop on the way out, calling out DC.
No,
for
we
the
didn't call it
greatest-
DC. The greatest thing that he said was, I'm not saying it's coincidence, but I moved up to 205 and DC's going to heavyweight. It was really funny. It was kind of
DC,
awesome.
it got DC. You could see him.
He laughed his ass
We
off.
had a perfect view of DC, John Anik,
Yeah.
and
Bisping and Dom. We could see like both sides. There were so many shows going on at the same time besides just the fights in the octagon. I'm addicted. I thought it would go one way or the other. Either I'd go to this and be like, no, I enjoy my front row seat at TV and doing what I do.
Mhm.
But no, I want to go to every UFC that I can. It will be something that
so the interesting thing about also being at the event was the level of education. I feel like it was a very educated
very
Crowd.
educated crowd.
from the beginning
Minimal
of the night.
booze.
Yep.
I mean, from the beginning, we can go through the things, but
Every
even
single
with the
fight.
ground game and the intricacy of the Yaya fight, hardly any booze on that as boring
Even
as
with
it was.
the Alex and the earlier fight, Bermudez Morales, as soon as we had somebody getting, every time somebody got to full mount, clapping. The whole cheering. Every time somebody moved positionally, people understood just the technique.
Every time
dramatically.
reversal, anytime anyone got out, the
Right.
Tisha Torres and Andrade fight, every time.
Right.
I was impressed.
I was impressed. Even the fans that were there around us, sometimes they were talking some major bullshit, but a lot of times they were spot on.
Yeah.
They were total hardcores as well. I really love the couple. Wherever you are, if you saw us out there at the fights, I just got to say props. It was a couple, blonde hair girl with a guy in a blue shirt. Either way, they were there from the first night, never went to the bathroom, never got a
Never
drink,
left.
never left the entire fight, never said a word, never cheered or clapped. Got up, and that's a ride or die. Homie,
She was
you better
a
put a
good
ring
girl.
on that.
She was a good girl. She didn't seem interested at all.
Didn't give a
She was
shit
just
from the first
there
night.
for her man.
But she was there from 3:30
Yeah.
till the finishing blow of the night. Props to you. Love to see that. It invigorated us, and I feel like
Yeah.
that also put into this getting it on YouTube for you guys. Anything left with Sam Alvey and or Marcin? Gotta be hesitant on this prospect who just got handed his first loss by Sam Alvey.
I was nervous about Sam going into the 205, and now I feel a little safer about him there. And I actually think it might be better for him. I thought they moved him up because he didn't make weight his last fight, but that was a fight he took on like a 4-day notice, 5-day notice in Australia or something. And I thought they forced him up, but I actually think it might have been a hard cut for him. And he's like, I'm over that. And his body looked a little weird at 205, but I think given time for him to like adjust his body to the muscle mass of 205, he's going to be one to watch. I like Sam at 205. It was a fun fight.
The smartest thing as well is Sam's picking his fights to an extent.
Yeah.
And he's picking advantageous fights for himself.
Can I tell you something else about this fight night that I'm just realizing with, is it Patty Mayo? I think she goes by, Sam's wife on Twitter. It was a whole fight night of cornermen being partners of some sort, whether it be girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband. It was a lot of those. And it was, you could feel the love in the room.
Are you thinking the mentality's changing in the training rooms where they're like, it's iron sharpens iron, but there's many ways to sharpen iron?
Well, maybe a lot of the women champions or the best women fighters are either with women, such like Rocky Pennington and Tisha, or Amanda and Nina, or they're with fucking amazing men like Rose and Pat Barry. So at least for women fighters. I don't know, I can't speak for the man side yet.
It's only Sam that I know of.
Sam. No,
there might be somebody else.
Mike Perry.
Oh, that's right. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. On to Alan Jouban defeating Ben Saunders, the local Floridian, taking a dive. This was elbow fucking city. Fight of the night contender. I don't know where the actual, who got the fight of the night, knockout of the night. Did we end up seeing that? Either way,
Wow.
defeating
I don't know
Ben Saunders and TKO was a great fight. Both fighters were hurting each other. It was mainly a striking bout. Saunders was getting hurt a bit more than Jouban, even though Jouban got hurt a few times. Saunders was wearing it worse. We said it here at LaTB. Saunders just takes a punch not as good anymore, and that's what happened.
There was something else, too, about Alan Jouban. I've seen a bunch of elbows thrown in the UFC in my career watching it so far. I've never seen somebody throw elbows like Alan Jouban did that fight. They almost look like punches. It was just like 1-2. 1-2. It was unbelievable how many, he was doing it both sides, both ways, like raking across his face. I would be interested in elbows per fight, who has the most ever landed. Get on it, fight nerds. Somebody do that stat. Who's laid the most elbows in UFC fights? It might be like a John Jones, maybe a Joanna, but Jouban's got to be up there with that fight. That was unbelievable, those elbow combinations. I loved it. And Jouban was talking to his son and his wife afterward. He was touched. He was stoked to be there.
He was.
Yeah.
He was definitely almost at tears during that last interview.
I was touched a little.
It was also his anniversary.
Yeah, his anniversary. He had a fight on his anniversary.
Was it his birthday or his kid's birthday too?
I feel like
something crazy like that.
And so they're going to Disney World. They're at Disney World right now.
Right now. Have fun.
Mountain, while we speak.
Have fun. With the last fight, I guess we got nothing else. I guess Jouban gonna keep looking forward to. Unfortunately, Ben Saunders, it's time to move away and not just into another league. It's time to move into coaching.
Get on out of here.
Time to get out of here, Ben Saunders, for your own health. This isn't something that I'm like, I don't want to fade Ben Saunders. I don't want to fade Jouban. I hope that they step away before.
Jouban's got some fights left.
He does have a few more left.
He looked really good in that fight.
Yeah, he really did.
He was fighting Ben Saunders.
That's a good point. That you make a
Either
very
way,
valid point.
Eddie Bravo, you should be proud.
They didn't go to the ground that much. It was a striking battle.
I just feel like if both your guys are in, you don't lose, you win.
True.
And when they put on a good show, like it was entertaining.
It was entertaining. On to Angela Hill defeating Marina Moroz.
Just like you said.
Just like I said, the better striker, the more diverse striker, Angela Hill. Angela Hill hurt Marina a few more times. Marina was getting backed up the whole fight.
All Moroz had on Angela Hill, and I was so wrong. Really, it's just because I'm not a huge... I don't know why. I think I was huge on Angela Hill. She was my favorite fighter coming out of the house, and then it was just... and it gave me a bad taste in my mouth. But I'm not into Moroz at all. She
Right.
only had distance on Hill. And Angela Hill, she came out to a Misfit song, which I thought was awesome, like a hardcore old school punk song. She put on a show. She had like the audience loved her, and yeah, I'm a fan now of Angela Hill. And Moreau's, there's still some fights for her at 115. I think she's actually, I don't know if she's fought KK yet, but stylistically, they're an interesting matchup. If you want a woman fight to stand and bang,
agree.
you can put Moreau's in, and it's going to be a stand and banger the whole time. Well, that's what I have to say about that.
So the fight of the night was actually, real quick, Ben Saunders versus Alan Joban.
Oh, okay.
Makes total sense. I feel like we even said that on the podcast,
Yeah,
that this
like-
should have been on the main card. This could be fight of the night.
Like, what is it doing here?
LaTB's on point. I'm just saying, even though it was, we both ended up getting 7 of 6, right? Or 7 of 12, I mean.
I think so.
I
6 or 7 of 12.
I had 7.
I think we did the same because we were 6 of 12 going into the last fight, and we both got that right.
Right, but there was a lot more upsets than people thought this night. So I think that we were still by far in the higher percentage.
Over 50%.
By far. On to one of the biggest letdowns of all time. We have Sarah McMahon versus Marion Renault. I actually made some live bet cash. I put a bet on Renault.
From your seat.
From my
right
seat.
there,
Right,
as they
because
were
I
walking
said,
out.
yeah, as they're walking out, it was a minus 1,200 for a submission Renault. And I'm like, just as we said before, McMahon can do everything, but she can't take a hit. She sat on her ass and stood right back up, kept swinging. But you saw her give up when she got to the ground, and Renault was in there with a mission. I really loved that she's embracing her 40 years old and saying, I don't give a damn.
About everything.
I don't give a-
Everything the whole time. It was, she's 40!
Yep. It was definitely just
It made me really sad for Sarah McMahon.
I actually put Renault on a few DraftKings just because I was so tentative. I didn't put McMahon anywhere. She was too expensive. Paid off.
Yeah.
I'm looking, though, unfortunately, to fade Moreau against other people. It was just me. It's Renew against other people.
And McMahon. They're both
Oh,
good.
of course.
Yeah.
We should have faded McMahon.
She looked so good in the first round. She had total control
She
of the
got
first
hurt,
round.
but she got sat on her ass in
Yeah,
the first round.
at the very end of the round. It was an exciting fight, though. It was one of the more exciting Sarah McMahon fights in my life. I don't know if it's because I was there. You guys can totally disagree from the television perspective, but it made me really sad when Sarah lost. The other thing that we kept saying for the remainder of the night, like Alan Joban be standing there and be like, damn, look at Alan Joban's body. He's almost built like Sarah McMahon. Because Sarah McMahon, man, her body is unbelievable.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Uriah fades in Max McMahon's corner.
Oh, that was,
That was
Faber
fun.
was down there.
On the workup, McMahon was saying that she was going to make Marion Renault be punished for how hard the training was at Alpha Male. Is it time? Is McMahon time to get on out of here? Does she have a few more
No, I
fights to
think
lose?
there's another thing that's to be said about this fight night. If you look at it, all the matches, all the Alliance members beat all the Alpha Male members.
It's a great point, and we didn't even make that matchup too much at the main event, but I feel like that did play a role.
Yeah, so all Dom's gym beat all Faber's gym.
They figured him out.
They know that Alpha Male plan. You know the Alpha Male plan.
And
I know the Alpha Male plan.
Dominic Cruz beat multiple guys from there for that reason, and only the guys that left that beat him. TJ Levy.
Good point.
So on to the Leslie Smith underdog pick of the week, coming through again, giving a little shout out to Oily Dicko at Oily Dicko.
That Oily Dicko on Twitter. Make sure you like and follow.
Yeah, retweeting us saying that freaking Les Dog pick is cashing out big money. A lot of people were telling us we were crazy. I was listening to a lot of other podcasts saying Barao should still have it. Barao looked like a fucking monster in there.
He looked good.
He was
not
humongous.
because Barao didn't put on a good fight. It's just because Kelleher is one of those Leslie Smith underdogs. He's going to be in a lot of his fights. People don't like his look. I don't know if they don't like his style. I don't know what they don't like about him, but he will forever be an underdog in his fights going forward, and there's money to be made on him. Also, fade Barao. Fade Barao. Barao can still win a lot of fights in the UFC. He's going to catch a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to fade him too soon against, like, hype trains. Kelleher just is too solid everywhere and really hurt Barao. Put the hurting on him. First, was it did they call it right before the fight?
Nope. It was a
We just
decision.
didn't hear the clap.
We didn't hear the claps, but Barao was in inches
Yeah.
of getting knocked out there a few times. Nunes wasn't too happy about this. Amanda Nunes was pissed. She was one of the louder, not even corners. She was in the sidelines. She was over sitting down.
She was
on
directly
the
across
fence.
from us, sitting directly at cage side, and her and Nina Arsenoff was sitting there. There was a time that we thought, who is the woman yelling from Barao's corner? Like, I didn't even know he had a woman in his corner. We could hear this distinct voice, and then you look over, it's Amanda Nunes. She was one of the loudest corner people of the night.
Yeah, people in the arena at times.
Yeah, you could hear
She had a
Amanda
set of
Nunes.
lungs.
And the other thing I have to say about Amanda Nunes, super huge fan now. She, every single between fights, every single one, she got up, went and shook hands with fans, went and took pictures with fans,
Good point,
went and
yeah.
loved on her fans. She was just so hospitable and loving of her. It made me like her. She was so warm. You could feel it all from where we were sitting. So huge fan. And like Nina kind of let her go, and then sometimes Nina did her own thing. She went and said hi to different fans. So they really embraced that, and she's a really upstanding. I really like Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, I definitely gained a little more respect from her.
And I know we're doing the fight going forward. I won't give it all away. There's more reason I like her to up and coming, but we'll talk about it.
So, on to Boom Kelleher. Absolutely love his own, how we were trying to think of chants as well and think of other stuff for fighters to get the crowd going. And Boom made his own moniker, his own saying with boom.
Yeah.
Can I get a boom? You heard the crowd. And then as he was walking out, you kept hearing boom.
Yeah, everyone
boom.
was still
It
doing
was
it
so
for him.
dope.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
And I thought the clever thing about it, if you're him, boom sounds so close to boo that you won't know either way. You're always a fan favorite. He could go into Brazil and
Yeah.
it sounds like boo.
So the pressure of Kelleher also needs to be attributed because Barao was in there. Barao got tired because he got the pace put on him, was eating shots the whole time. What do we do with Barao? Looking to fade him against tough guys. He can beat other guys. It'll be left to said to the matchups, but I think the UFC's been
weirdest
using
thing
him to
going
make a name.
forward with these two guys is Barao's still going to be a favorite in his next fight, and Kelleher's still going to be an underdog, just purely on names. No one still knows who Kelleher is. Everyone still knows who Barao is, so there's still money to be made knowing that going forward.
Agreed. On to the main event. We went live on Fox, nationally heard. You had Ric Flair's cities all day. We started off the main event with Max Griffin versus Mike Perry, the local boy, getting one of the biggest pops again by the crowd, coming into the fight, and was really picked apart by a better striker in Max Griffin. Even the takedown defense, Max Griffin really came together with a good game plan, used a lot of the Ponzinibbio, a lot of the Joe Band, outstruck him, didn't get into brawls. Mike Perry tried to brawl, Griffin backed up until Mike Perry threw that overhand right or left that was so extended that Griffin landed that almost kill shot. Was it the first or the second round where Perry almost got finished?
You mentioned to it a few times, like it was so over telegraphed. You could tell it was coming. That him in the ring, he knew it was coming.
10 minutes beforehand.
But we were also saying Mike Perry took a lot on his shoulders to really get this card. It was supposed to be Luke Rockhold versus Branch with Andrade versus KK as the co, and it had some other fights and everything. If you look at all the fights that fell out of this card, unbelievable. So Mike Perry really stepped in. He took the fight after a brawl with Ponzinibbio like a month ago, and took this fight against somebody that, listening back to the show, if we would have spent more time on it, I was all into Mike Perry because he was a hometown guy in Florida, but listening back to it, listening to you said a bunch, like David Branch is not going to be...
Not David Branch.
Max
Griffin.
Max Griffin is not just going to be...
He did look like David Branch a little bit.
Kind of like a younger, handsomer David Branch. But you're like, Max Griffin is not just going to be popped out of there in the first round. He can throw, he has clean punches, blah, blah, blah. All that showed.
Yeah,
all that
agreed.
showed in there.
Should have placed a bet. Actually, I did. I had a couple underdogs because there was so many. I ended up cashing big on my other bets that we don't have. Maybe we'll end up setting up some sort of service to get our parlays and or specific bets, because I feel like the prop bets I was cashing all weekend long.
Yeah, and we might have to set that up on the Patreon where we actually, for the people that are subscribing to that, because you do come out with stuff an hour before, 30 minutes before, right before that. If people are subscribing on there, they can get on Bovada and get the same bets. And that's where I would say I do really great on DraftKings. You clean up on the parlays that when you see them walk into the ring, that you can put them all together and putting what fights after weigh-ins and stuff like that. You clean up on that way better than I do.
Sometimes I do believe, though, even though we didn't get to listen to the commentary, there is bits and pieces you can pick out from some of those commentators that do roll with some of these fighters.
Yeah.
Because they'll give you some interesting facts sometimes that you just can't pick up till that hour before when you're watching all of the
Mike
breakdowns
Perry,
and
one
shit.
funny thing that he did in the ring, if you guys didn't catch it, he actually, look over there, trying to get, Griffin
Griffin
turn
to
his
look
head,
over.
and so he could take a punch. He just walked out of the ring. He didn't wait for the interview. Apparently, afterward, he was really cool with fans. And I think the most interesting, I think Max is one to watch going forward. I still think people are fading Mike Perry and talking shit about him. Give him a break, you guys. He took this on a month and he did not look like himself there. He was trying.
He was trying to finish that
the
fight.
nerves of the fans. He was really trying to finish the fight. It wasn't the right Mike Perry, and he's only 26. He'll be fine. Both guys are going to be awesome to watch going forward.
Yep.
Funniest part of the fight, Colby Covington.
Of the fight or after the fact? And
It's all inclusive.
is it one of
because
these?
I think it might be Mike Perry's next fight.
It really might
I
be.
think Colby's handpicking his fights for a reason. He saw
Agreed.
enough holes in that fight, and he's calling it. Enough people are calling out
Right.
Colby all the time. He can pick his fight, and I think he wants Mike Perry.
With that, though, do you think that...
Let me tell you what we're talking about. Tell them what we're talking about.
What we're talking about is Colby Covington coming out on Twitter and saying, I'm sure most of you have seen it, if it wasn't for your ratchet-ass wife corner or girl corner, you probably would have done better. I'm going to something mop up the floor with you. I can't directly quote it, but either way.
But called his girl ratchet ass.
Right. Is it a low blow?
I think it's a low blow. I don't think you can talk about family outside the octagon.
Agreed. Or even when it's coaches, because coaches train other fighters and
Fair
whatever,
enough.
it's easy. But
If they put on the Reebok stuff, I think they're free game. If they're in your corner, they're free game.
They're
to me.
coaches
So
at
never
that
mind.
point.
Never mind. I hate Colby's trolling, but it was kind of funny.
Very assholey.
dicky.
The interesting thing is, he didn't do that shit if Mike Perry won. Or would he have? You know? Like, he kicked him while he's down, which that's the avenue that I don't like. It's same with
But
calling
that's
out
kind
Rock
of
Hold
what
out
he's
on a
doing. It's
knockout.
like his
He's like,
nerve
oh, I
bash.
can beat you too. Of course, he just lost to Griffin that you could beat Griffin. Duh, you're going to be Mike Perry. I'll put money on Colby all day for that fight. I see very one-sided. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I don't
not
know.
hard.
I think Mike Perry might be able to figure it out. I don't. Damian Maia does not have a hard of a punch as Mike Perry, and
Mhm.
Damian Maia hurt Colby. That was
Interesting. There's always a puncher's chance with Mike Perry, but hey, didn't come out this fight. Starting to see other people might see that
Yeah.
just as
I just
easily.
don't think it was the right Mike Perry.
So, with Max Griffin again, somebody to watch. Mike Perry, give him a chance. He'll end up doing all right. That DK money though, that DK line.
Mike Perry, though, I think he should take advantage of these friggin' amazing gyms we have around there. Go and train with Usman. Go and train with American Top Team. Go and train with somebody. Go and train with Robbie Lawler.
Yep.
Go and train with somebody around here. You got it. I know he seems like a super loyal guy, but I feel like he has to break his camp. I think he needs to expand.
He's got a lot of time left, and he's just because of the hype that he's got attributed to his name, he could go on a 4-5 losing streak and get a can of a fighter. The UFC will throw him cans because he brings in the views regardless of
Which,
the
if you're
fight.
into Mike Perry, we're setting up the website now, but you can go on Twitter. We have a pretty awesome Mike Perry shirt, that Lesbo and The Bean merch. If you want to get yourself some.
Oh, there's also some trust us, man.
Yeah, there's a Usman shirt that we have that kind of looks like it's the Obey, old Andre the Giant. We have a Thug Life with Rose Namajunas on it with the little cheesy glasses and a joint. And we have a Chris Weidman one that's what would Chris Weidman do with the American flag behind it. And then my personal favorite, the Lesbo and The Bean logo with the MMA sommelier and UFC connoisseurs. So
With our Les Dog, obviously.
you got to get the
main and
Lesbo
frame.
dog.
So, on to Alir Latifi defeating OSP. We both are OSP haters, and I think it.
Haters. We almost had a double Leslie Smith underdog pick if you listened to the last show, and it would have been 100%. Both of them would have come through because the other one would have been.
So I had.
I have to say,
Latif-
too, I have to give credit to our friend who went with us to the fight and Smoking Grass thought of the best name for Latifi, and his nickname should be Queen. So he is, Lamir Queen Latifi.
Amir Queen Latifi
It's kind of awesome.
is actually really
Queen
funny.
Latifi.
So, either way, it's unbelievable to see this troll of a man in all the best way. A head the size of 2 watermelons, walking at 5'8", have literally almost be as wide as he is tall. Get in there and sling some leather. He felt OSP's power. OSP looked like a dad in against a kid at times in there. He was huge.
They looked different weight classes.
By far. The stockiness came through. Latifi ended up hurting OSP with like a left punch and then ended up jumping on a submission. I had Latifi real quick on the parlay that I ended up making in the night was Renew, Kelleher, and Latifi all at plus money. I ended up cashing pretty good plus money on that. That was also like 2 hours before into the fight card before they were going. So with Latifi's submission, he ended up locking it in. OSP went out. That was a really dramatic finish. Viewing it from the outside.
Yeah, it was a while till he got up.
It was a little while till he got up. He got up and was absolutely fine with it. Who did Latifi call out? He was all over the cage.
Cormier. In a lot of the time, it wasn't just brief. There was minutes between commercials that he kept going to the cage and squatting down and talking shit to Daniel Cormier.
Yep.
And Daniel Cormier wanted nothing to do with it. He was just like, "Come on, man, go enjoy your moment. Go, leave me be." Daniel Cormier was just a professional. And the only thing I didn't like about being in the auditorium is I wish there was a radio station that the UFC offered. So if I had my phone, I could put an earpiece in and hear the commentators. That would be awesome. If I would love to hear whatever's going on ringside because it's really part of the good part about being at home. If I could have the best of both worlds like that, that would be amazing.
Totally
That's a lot to ask. But a
It
little
is.
earpiece so I can hear my DC or my Dom or my John in my ear. Great.
Right. We were, again, as we were saying before, during the events, we were trying to give a little, "I love you, Bisbee." Everybody, though.
Everybody.
It was so awesome.
It's like we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a Baba Booey because no one's ever UFC Baba Booeyed, but that would have been a lot to ask. I don't know.
And it was hard to project from where we were at.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty
You could
tough.
hear everything from the ground up, but it was hard getting it down.
I did get a little nosebleed every
Or
once in a while.
Lesbo and The Bean!
Yeah, also, if you hear it on there. So, on to Tisha Torres versus Jessica Andrade. This was a 3-round decision. Andrade really showed her physicality in this fight. Showed that she's willing to eat a shot to get right through it, to get people to the ground. But even those that hurt that she got wasn't true dramatic. I feel like she ate them
And just kept going.
and got those takedowns. The takedowns played the biggest role in this. I feel like that's what we called. We both
She
had
got
Andrade decisions.
155 points on DraftKings.
That
By a
pace.
decision. How often does
How many-
that happen to a fighter that they decision 155 points?
How many takedowns?
3 rounds.
Of nonstop.
3 rounds.
Right.
Imagine a 5-round fight. You might have hit 200 points with Jessica Andrade.
Right. We were seeing again. Who is it? Mata Leon. In there, really being in this because she has both sides. She's
It
training
was
both of
kind of
these
cute.
women.
Okay, I just have to have a little lesbian story on this, little backstory that I've created in my own head. So, Rocky Pennington and Tisha Torres used to fight down at American Top Team. I imagine becoming close like couples do with Amanda and Nina. So they must have hung out a bunch. And then Rocky, in my own head, I've created that American Top Team, maybe having a champion like Joanna at the camp. It's hard to put that much focus into other 115-pound women. Rocky's like, I'm going to go to Colorado. Tisha's like, okay, let's go work on our cardio up at... Things are great. So they're back in town to visit their friends. They're like, you guys are going to go to UFC Orlando? They're like, hell yeah. Amanda and Nina are like, of course we're going to come watch you fight. So they put up a bunch of pictures of them hanging out before the fight, like couples. So then Amanda and Nina are cage side. During Tisha's fight, they are louder corners. You can hear Nina and Amanda yelling to Tisha louder than you ever hear Rocky. It's kind of amazing. And then the most dramatic moment of that fight happened where I feel like everyone in the auditorium really did blush. Even though we know it's fighting, everybody knows it's fighting. I'm not saying it's anything because it's women. It was just a kind of awkward moment where I feel like the entire auditorium blushed when they turned on each other and did a little 69 action. Like the whole auditorium just felt weird about it for a minute, and then we were like, oh yeah, this is fighting, and everyone got back into it again.
The ultra north-south position.
Yeah.
They were going below the equator on both sides, and it was not only guys
As a fighting
and girls
fan, someone who's wrestled your whole life, there was a minute of blushing.
giggling.
Yeah.
Literally, the entire auditorium giggled. I don't know if it registered on there or if the announcer said anything, but it was a little bit funny. You got to be lighthearted in this situation as well. You can't be
All girls were there was so much love in it that not only...
Oh, was there?
I know, but not just that, but even after the fight, the amount of respect shown to Andrade and her team by Tisha's team and Rocky, it was really great to see. Tons of sportswomanship.
Totally agree. Either way, going forward with both of these fighters, they're both going to beat a lot of fighters. I'm going to keep putting money in.
Don't fade Tisha from here.
Yeah.
Don't
She
fade
still looked
Tisha.
real
Tisha's,
good.
I think she's still crawling up that mountain. I think Tisha's still going to be better. I think both ladies are going to see each other again. This is one of those fights that when somebody wins, they're like 9 out of 10 times that person always wins. This is one of those fights that do it 2 years from now, you might get a different whole scenario. Like, both women are excelling in different ways. They're like taking different directions up.
So with this, one thing that you mentioned while we were in the arena, and I feel like we could see it from where we were at, the back knee on Tisha Torres has gotten a little thick. And I have never noticed that before. But I gotta say, when I see something that is a direct
I was actually
effect,
thinking about her knee, her back of her knee, but you actually meant the acne on her back.
on her back, her back joint of her knee. No, so yeah, she had a lot of that pox and stuff, and it really looked big. I know a lot of people say she's muscular and always has been muscular, but I don't know. I'm just saying, if she pops, you heard it here first.
This is I feel like Tisha, we thought this last time, and then she was the most tested athlete of the year or something. She was like one of the highest tested athletes, and I was going to ask you, I was thinking about it today, could I get a bunch of back knee on my back just from rolling on dirty mats too much?
A possibility. The staff and everything could happen. She's a lifelong martial artist. Yeah, it's a possibility. For some reason, maybe it's being there in real life and seeing her, but she looked thick. She looked thicker than before on even other occasions.
But the other cool sportsmanship moment, the amount of love between Rocky Pennington and Amanda, and these girls are going to fight each other for the championship at like 224 or 225 or something.
The crowd loved this fight. Even though we were booing in some of the little spots, you could see that both women were trying in there.
And this is one of the fights that you definitely got to see how educated the fans were.
100%.
During every transition.
Even with the giggling.
Even with the giggling, it was so awesome. Every time there was the other thing I really liked, every time there was a close submission, you could feel the elevation of the crowd knowing when it wasn't going to happen anymore. Which, I mean, maybe it's like that at every event, but watching it on TV sometimes I feel like they boo at moments that I'm like, what? There's tons going on in there right now. There wasn't any weird stand-ups. There wasn't any weird, except for the last match. There was only
which is the main event, which we finally got to. With the co-main event, anything left to say with those two incredible young ladies?
I'm excited to watch them both going forward, and I think Andrade really, in my opinion, there's nothing left but Rose. There's nothing left but Rose, and I'd actually rather watch Andrade Rose over in JJ Rose. I think in my opinion, JJ Rose goes pretty similar, and I'd rather see JJ at 125 fighting your girl, Bullet Valentina. That's a super fight, in my opinion.
That's a fun fight.
That's a super fight. That's a lady super fight. That's like the Holly Holmes cyborg.
We'll have fun breaking that one down when it comes down, because that is a good one. With the main event, we're actually having an attendance of 10,000 in the arena, and actually having a gate of over $1 million.
Wow,
so
okay.
Cashing out. I don't know what the actual live views were. I feel like I could get them here real quick. Either way, it ended up
While you want to look for those, I'll tell you guys something nerdy about and we hope you guys enjoy this fan experience part. It's just something listening to podcasts, we hear a lot of people break down what you see on TV, but all these people we listen to go to the fights and maybe they're just used to all this stuff, and we hope we never get used to it enough that we don't share the excitement with you guys. So when Jeremy Stevens walked in, the whole arena lit up with fucking fire. It's like Jeremy Stevens, Little Heathen, and it's all flames everywhere, and it all had their eyes just showing like this over all the doors where they walk out, and it was super cool. His song's playing, he gets in the octagon. Josh Emmett, he walks out. I can't believe how cool it looked. It was one of the cooler walk-in. I've been to wrestling events. I've been to live sporting events a ton. Josh Emmett's walk-in was the most hype thing I'd ever seen. It was the coolest pattern. The whole arena turned blue. His eyes showing. He walks in. The hype is built. We're ready for this main event. We are starving at this point. We are like, did I want to get a UFC Orlando t-shirt?
Or a UFC
or
vintage?
did I want to get a hot dog? It was like one or the other. So we're starving at this point. We shared the last glass of $5 water, and we didn't even know what we were going to go geek out and wait at gates afterwards to see other people. But so the fight's happening, and I saw people were leaving. People were leaving during, like, the way like a football stadium starts to leave when a team wins already. It was kind of like people were just there for the Andrade Tiny Tornado fight, and they were like, deuces.
Because it wasn't the local, even though Andrade didn't have a locality as well, but neither of these guys,
though,
if they would have had an Orlando guy,
yeah, Mike Perry was the main. It would have.
Yeah, people would have freaking stayed regardless of whoever he was fighting. If they want to throw a can in there, local guys, local towns just want the local guy to win. If you're gonna throw a fight away, sometimes UFC, give it to the main event for the local guy. Like, it makes so much fucking sense.
Yeah, totally.
Why not? Why not? Free advice, UFC. You better get LaTB on the board here. If you ever remember to like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe.
Remember, now that we're on YouTube, hopefully we're getting our faces out there and people are liking this. Let us know.
People are liking
on Twitter. So, with the live views real quick, we ended up having an average viewership of 1.8 million.
On our last podcast?
No, not podcast.
Oh.
On UFC Orlando. We're getting there though. We're getting there. Only a couple off. So, this is the highest viewed since Fox 23, which was a little bit while ago, but this did pretty good. There's been some really high, like 4 million.
Yeah, 2.2, I think Holly Holmes did.
Right, the highest being 4.7 in 2012. It was on main Fox.
And the fight card was changed up so many times.
Yeah. Either way, I feel like it was a fun event. If you were a newcomer, you saw one of the most brutal finishes you've seen in a long time. We saw a dead man in that ring.
I called it before the replay. I said the knee was illegal.
We both saw it. Because I was like, ooh, I think that was illegal. The crowd saw it because people around us were saying.
Booing already. The whole arena, you guys couldn't tell, the whole arena booed.
Booing and saying he cheated,
like,
illegal
cheater.
It was such an illegal lead.
He fucking knocked him out.
He was hurt
and
beforehand.
Jeremy Stevens was going to finish that fight without the illegal knee. It just, the amount of damage that probably did to Emmett.
So with that illegal knee, it was even to the back of the head. If you look at the photos, it was to the top backside. He had both knees down and a hand down. The thing, because the ref was where we were, Jeremy Stevens' back covered that knee. That's where the ref didn't see it. But it wasn't the knee that finished it. The knee hurt him. Emmett fell to his back, and then Stevens landed an elbow on the entrance, where Emmett looked like a chimp as well. That was dead. Knees bowed, hands to the ground, looking straight up. They didn't show that on the replays. Emmett for 5 minutes on the ground, getting up, and they didn't have him held his hand. Emmett tried to wait for his say in the fight to contest it because he looked up, because he could hear the crowd. Emmett kept hearing the crowd saying he cheated. Emmett's corners just being like, that was fucking illegal.
Yeah.
It was an illegal knee. There's no fucking way around it.
We were nervous until they came out and called Jeremy Stevens the winner. We thought it was going to be a no contest.
Right. Which I'm 100% okay with, only because turn it over later, let my bets cash. Don't give me a fucking, don't push on my bets. I had Jeremy Stevens everywhere.
I don't think it should be a no contest. Even though it did happen, the damage was done before the knee. And it just happened kind of in this heat of battle that it no means was intentional. Maybe a point taken.
After the fact. That's the type of knockout that'll take a year off your life, though, for Emmett.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was brutal. People were definitely not having fun.
But something I will say, we called that shit. We called that shit.
Making your bets here at LaTB. So, culmination of the entire night. What do you give it?
And then on the way out, on the way out, I saw my boyfriend, Ponzinibbio, and got a little picture with him.
Before that, Aubin Mercier, yo, with some Denny's, homie.
Yeah,
with some Denny's. Just saying, didn't even want to retweet. I was looking at you. I said, I'm out!
Mercier!
I saw you with your girl. Who do you think took that picture? I'm watching you. So,
and then, so we saw Pons on the way out, and then we were like, let's geek, let's see if there's a spot we can stand while the fighters are leaving, like you do if you're seeing a rock concert. We found that spot, but we were on the other side of the street. No joke, you guys.
Oh.
If you're not a fan already, you're crazy and you're hashtag not a fight nerd. But DC, he could have just got in his van and left.
Yep.
He walked all the way across.
he put down his pizza.
He was eating.
Oh wait, he finished it.
Slice.
He fucking go.
And then he walked over and shook hands with every single fan that was waiting. We were so close. And then this is where it gets maddening. So we were like, oh my God, DC's over there. Other fighters are going to be coming out. Bisping and Dom, we know are still inside because we saw them do their broadcast like whites of their eyes. So we're like, okay, we know Bisping and Dom are inside. So then we go to cross the street, but we got to take the crosswalk. It's busy Orlando traffic. So we're walking across the crosswalk. And our friend said, we should wait here at this gate. And we're like, no one's coming across the street. Let's go. We just got to catch DC. So we go over to catch DC. He's gone by then. No joke. Right afterwards, Yoel Romero walks out right where we were standing. But we were now on the other side of the busy street. So it was a whole to-do.
So Yoel runs across the street. He has
security guards.
But he also has fans run across the street because he's no longer protected by the staff. There was a couple guys. One, they were Latinos. One was Cuban. One wasn't. And they were fast talkers and fast movers.
They were like, Yoel! Talking to him in Spanish, being like, don't forget, man, don't forget. And Yoel waved him off and had
was like, dude, I don't need to. Yeah, he showed
DC,
them.
if you guys, DC he is a true champion and
a true man's
gentleman.
Man. Yep.
Like, such a huge fan. He's so awesome. You can feel his energy from as far away. Like, great guy for the sport. I'm so excited about that. Yeah, I think that puts UFC Orlando in a bag.
A pretty little box. Let us know how you feel about the YouTube. Any other experiences or last things? We got another fight card coming right at us. We have a pay-per-view. One of the most disgusting pay-per-views I've ever seen in my life. We do have the co-main being Frankie Edgar Ortega, which should be the main. But then we have Cristiano Cyborg.
Versus who?
Debuting
against Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah, a fucking Kunishkayev. Debut fighter for the championship?
It's another bantamweight. It's a bantamweight champion from Invicta. I remember the girl. Yeah, Kuchikavia.
Debut in the UFC. Doesn't deserve a title shot. Just saying. They're another moment.
But I am appreciative that I know this will get some hate, but I am glad she's not fighting Amanda because I want both divisions to grow. And if you have a loss of either of those, like I want Amanda to be her own beast. I don't want her to be a beast, but she lost to Cyborg, the heavier lady. Like, no, I want Amanda to be the beast of her division, Cyborg to be the beast of that one. So I understand that part as the UFC goes. But we'll be watching that pay-per-view. We'll break it down here.
Of course.
For all things Lesbo and The Bean, lesboandthebean.com. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Lesbo and The Bean. You can email us at lesboandthebean@gmail.com. Any questions, comments?
New website up?
It's under progress, but it's there.
It's coming.
So, thanks you guys.
Lesbo and The Bean!